Well, welcome everyone. We've got a fun little, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes planned here for you all. My name's Andrew Coons. I'm the DM for the First Watch. And if you're watching this without watching any of our shows, you're about to be hella confused. But we're so glad that you're here. But we're gonna do a little bit of a kind of just 10, 11 episodes in recap. Just a quick conversation about what the journey's been like so far. And we're going to very quickly popcorn around. And Dana, will you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dana. I'm playing Artemis Valor on, the second campaign of the First Watch, and you can find me on Twitter at a bit meddlesome, and I'll pass it to Blake.
Hello, I am Blake. I play Brookus Darkbringer, um, dwarf cleric in that campaign too. I was like, what am I gonna say? Wow.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a while. Where you can find me on Twitter sometimes. I post random things at Blake C Francis, so see me there. But yeah, definitely check me out here though.
Awesome. Well, yeah, so we are in campaign two of the First Watch. Episode 11 is out. There's so many numbers involved. This campaign two of the First Watch, episode 11. Blah, blah, blah. I just realized that. I also, when I named the show, I had no idea that there was a breakfast chain called First Watch, which I did sit in a panel at Gen Con that talked about like trademark and legalities, and I don't think we have anything to worry about because we're completely different industries. But still, if there's a way that
Maybe
I can piggyback off of there, yes, team
Yeah,
up,
I
and
was
we'll
gonna
have
say,
like we'll call it B&D, Breakfast in Dungeons and Dragons. See, First
Oh my
Watch, the breakfast chain.
oh,
Get a hold of me.
that'd be sick. That'd be
Although
pretty sick
That'd
if we did
actually
something
be
like
pretty
that.
cool.
to be fair, when I say B&D, my head goes a very different place.
I was gonna say
What?
that could be. Ooh, that could be
That sounds like
fun.
something else.
D&D After
Um,
That'd be
Dark.
fun.
D&D After Dark, yeah. But
Roll
yeah,
that
so
dice.
Artemis is the wizard of the party, played by Dana.
Hello.
Grokus is our cleric, our dwarven cleric, and Artemis is an Asimar, played by Blake. And we're happy to have
Played
both
by
of you
Dana.
here. And what's that?
You said played by Blake. I'm like, that's played by Dana.
Well, no, my syntax was off, but I started with you
Oh,
with
I got you.
Grokus,
Right. Like,
and then I
oh,
segued
and
into
then
some information about Artemis, and then I came back to Blake at the top. It's all very complicated.
I get you. I lost it myself. I'm sorry.
But yeah, through episode 11 is really what I at least consider to be kind of like the first arc of the campaign. A lot happens in 11 episodes, and there's a lot that's kind of not resolved, but kind of stuff that comes to a head and comes to a point of temporary resolution. And of course, splits off into a lot more stories as we go forward.
I mean, resolution. I mean,
Really a resolution.
it got to a point.
So for way of just broad recap, everybody has arrived in Floros via various means. We have, of course, other party members not joining us here tonight. And people all kind of got roped into adventure. I mean, you all met kind of randomly and like decided to hang out, but got roped into adventure with the explosive entrance of one Daisy May Abernathy, a human fighter who was being chased by some goons and kind of like jumped in with you all to like, hey, just pretend I'm your friend, to like hide me, and that turned into a fight. From there, it set up this entire conflict with this local gang known as the Three Blades, because by butting heads with them, you got leadership's attention, and next thing you knew, you're being kind of hunted by them and end up having a kind of a standoff and a fight with one of their lieutenants, who you defeat, and then you go on the run. You also discover, well, you don't discover, but you go to this mine that's been recently uncovered and find out it's a dwarven mine. So Grokus's people start to kind of come into play, and we'll get into some other stuff that. But thinking of those first few episodes, I'd love to just hear from the both of you, kind of impressions. Kind of big moments that really stood out to you, and maybe we even just start with that entrance by Daisy May and just the kind of
And
being
shout out to
thrust.
Shannon. Like, shout out to her being such an awesome
Yes.
character. Like,
Yeah.
shout out to Shannon. Like, she kills it.
Yeah, Shannon Roby guest starring as that character, so awesome. But yeah, just that kind of like almost being thrust into something you weren't expecting, forced into having to make a choice about a conflict. What were some of those early moments like for the two of you?
Before, like,
Oh wow! like you got this. Go. It's like,
go.
man. I mean, it was especially come up the hills of Brisbane Hills because Grover's Artemis, and Ross, another character here, like coming from that. Um, it was it wasn't too crazy. It's like the stuff we went through. It's like okay, like it's stuff. It's like okay, we gotta keep the balance everywhere we go. It's just like another thing of trying to keep that balance, like every kind of no matter what the situation. But yeah, Grove was not expecting it. It was like kind of like towards like, yes, we're here, let's see all these sites, and then bam.
I'm surprised at how quickly all of us worked together to cover Daisy May's ass. Like,
Yep.
we could have literally just turned around and been like, okay, there's this random person, here you go, you can take her, type thing. But
Oh, she was too sweet though. She was too sweet to be like, oh, she can't. She wouldn't hurt nobody.
Yeah. Well, we literally talked about it being one of those moments where like you hear these stories of someone who just comes up to you and like, oh, hey friend, how's it going? And then they whisper in your ear, this guy's following me, like, can you help me out?
Yeah.
And just the way that strangers will come together to help each other in a tight moment like that. She and I talked about that being one of those types of things. And obviously out of game there's the whole like, this is our guest player, we're not going to abandon her right away. But in game, even I think it did make a lot of sense. Like, you weren't sure necessarily the extent of the trouble, but, you might all be mercenaries, but you're also decent people.
In our defense, like Rogus tried like to talk to him first, like remember correctly.
That's
like,
very
we tried to talk, we didn't.
That
We
was
was
fair.
like, we're gonna play this. But like, hold on a second, let's see what's going on. So we kept both sides of but they attacked us first.
Yeah.
Like
No,
they attacked first.
That's
so.
very true. And I think that that's probably mostly the case throughout the campaign so far, in that y'all don't throw the first punch, but you don't let a second punch be thrown very often.
No. It's amazing to me how quickly like that snowballed into like being on the run from the Three Blades and then meeting Alexio, and it
meeting Greta. Greta was awesome.
Well, let's talk about Greta a little bit
because like no one wanted to go in that room. Like everyone's like just like we can't go in there. And I was like, yeah, we're going in, like knock. And yeah, she was tight. Just when Ross is like, can we just make her a gun? Like, it still gets me. But like, oh man. But yeah, she was an awesome character. Was not expecting her at all.
Yeah.
But I love like her sense of like her kind of sweetness she has to her. Like when Malachi made that picture of her and she like really liked her, like that was like a really cool sweet.
That was so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. So Greta being, of course, the Grung NPC that you all met shortly after your encounter with the battle with Robat's lieutenant that you won and everything. And yeah, I mean, Greta really was there to serve as a kind of a bit of a guide in place of Daisy May. Because that's one of the things that Shannon brought too, was like, hey, I know the city, I can get you around. And so without her, I wanted to make sure that the party had some sort of way to get information. And so you all decided to go to the mines, and of course she has explored those and was able to take you around. But had you decided to not go to the mines and maybe explore the town more, she also would have been able to provided some guidance there. So she was kind of a little bit of a tourist map for you, depending on where you decided to go. But it's helpful, I think, to have those, not necessarily me inserting, here's what you should do, but like there's someone here to answer questions, to lead you into the next direction you want to go.
And that has their own like opinions too, because Daisy had like her own like things going as well to certain people.
Yep.
And then we skipped it too. That fight was awesome. The first fight that came was pretty rad too. Like, the first big fight was pretty sick.
Yep.
With all of us throwing down. The one we fought with the Minotaur, and the water, and then all like the room. That was like the first real kind of comment we all got into together. Even that said before too, like trying, because we thought we were gonna meet someone. Because we were supposed to meet. Did he say he was going to be there?
Robat said he was going to be there. The leader of the Three Blades.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
but
a liar.
He's a lying liar. So yes.
Lying liar who lies.
Lying liar who lies.
Yeah.
but yeah, so that led you into the mines, which for my part, did not expect you all to go into that quickly. I thought that you were going to either do some stuff around the city or even bugger out back to Grispin Hills for a little while. That was a potentiality I prepped for. But when you all decided to go, well, let's just go down into the mines, I was like, well, that's a smart decision. And I better get some lore ready and some other things ready.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it a smart decision?
I don't know.
It removed you from the immediate danger, but it did present other dangers, of course. So yes,
Man, that was it was so much fun too, just going down like and exploring because like you really get that exploration. Because that's in D&D, like it's all about they say those three pillars, whatever. So it was cool to really get that like discovery kind of exploration, which I feel like sometimes don't get as much, especially in streams. And so it's a lot of fun to let us kind of like explore because like this big cavern, there's a place we can go that we still haven't even like explored every avenue we could down there. So yeah.
We still haven't hit bottom, have we?
Oh, not even close.
We know it's down there if we need to, though.
Yeah.
I mean, in the future, if we make it.
There's several offshoots that you've marked that you haven't gone in yet, and then you certainly have not gotten to the bottom yet. So there's a lot still to explore down there.
We need to go to the bottom.
More episodes, people come. So maybe we've been there by the time you're watching this. So
maybe.
Let us know in the comments how it ends.
But yeah, I mean, obviously the big lore drop in the mines was finding the old dwarven journal and learning why the dwarves went extinct almost in the country. So that, of course, being one of the kind of linchpins of the Alsonian lore is that the dwarven race has, or species, better word for it, it has all but died off, that there are very, very few dwarves left, Grokus being one of them, Brobat apparently being one of them. And yeah, so the big reveal being that it was vampirism that swept through them and caused them to turn, and eventually they drilled down deep into the Earth's core in order to not spread the vampirism any farther.
I would say that I was not expecting us to learn that so quickly. But like, when we ended that episode world, like, and then you're learning about the books, like, holy shit, like right now? Like, this is episode, like, are you kidding me? You're gonna find out? Like, I thought I would never know why I would have to dwarves. I mean, when I first saw, like, hey, dwarves were like kind of gone, I said, okay, like, whenever it's gonna happen to them, like, maybe they died. So to be able to learn, that was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Andrew, have we kept you on your toes, basically?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean, like, and part of it is my play style. Like, I don't overly prepare. So I am responding to a lot of things. But that being said, there's definitely been a few decisions where I've been like, oh boy, I'm glad that's happening near the end of game because I need to pause. I'm curious.
I like that play style though, because it keeps it open.
It does. But and this was one of those moments where you got the journal and we were near end of game and you opened it up and, here lies the last will and testament of blah, blah, blah. And I ended us there. So I could have time to go write all that text. But I'm curious from the both of you, what did you think was going to be the answer? Because, you knew you were about to find out why the dwarves disappeared. What were your theories going into that?
I don't even know. Like, it certainly wasn't vampirism. That's for
sure. I can say that.
That wasn't even on my radar. But like, oh my god, yeah.
I had no clue. Like they said, I was like, I had no clue. I was like, dang, because I thought we were never gonna know. Like, that was one of those things. Like, who knows what happened? That maybe they. So I had like just no idea. So I was like, this could be anything. But yeah, I was not expecting. Like, as soon as we were vampirism, I was like, oh my god. And it's sad too because like at that point, like you realize like Grogus like they can still be alive, like his parents can still be down, but just like turn, and then just had to like even think about that. It was oh my god.
Yep.
And it's still think it's tight too that he got his name like the Darkbringers. Like he put down the lore. I was like, oh my god, like I was so I was so stoked of them. Like oh shit, like they're a part of like that history. So yeah,
watching all of our reactions was probably my favorite thing.
That's the fun part of doing the rewatches for sure.
Yeah.
We got to do little mini watch parties of like clips together with different parts of the group. That'd be
fun. So then you eventually went back up to the surface, where you kind of because you had met these people who were being kind of captured and made to work in the dwarven mines, and in order to free them, you went back to the surface in order to deal with another one of Brobat's lieutenants by the name of Elixio. And Elixio was a different breed of villain, not the rough and tumble lower levels type of person, but much more of a refined, sophisticated. I worked through the arts and the parties and stuff to spread deceit and lies and all that type of stuff. That was for me definitely one of the keep me on my toes moments. Obviously those 2 episodes dealing with him and eventually ending with him and you and him signing a contract.
That's not even.
Talk me through a little bit of just like being in that moment and like coming up against this guy and knowing that he's powerful, but not really knowing like you had to learn about him and all this stuff. Like what was that whole experience of like sussing him out and then encountering him like?
I feel like Grokus was like ready to throw down. Like
I was literally this close the whole time, because when you guys were like when they was going down, I was like, damn, like I was like I'm about to like go find myself and die, because like he was not about it. But we saw you guys sounded like, dang, I don't want to like lose people like I want to like love and like rely upon, but I didn't want to do that either. So like you can just see my expression. I see looking back at it now too. Like I was just like I was so mad. I was like, no. Yeah, I was this close to popping off, like this close to being like,
yep.
Going back and watching the episode, I realized that it was Artemis that encouraged Grokus to sign. So there,
it hurt. Yeah, that hurt. Yeah. That hurt Grokus when she said that. He's like, wow. He's like, his mouth, like, do you know what you're asking me to do?
Yeah.
And he knew you didn't know, so it's just like, yeah, it hurt the moment. It was tough.
She realized after the facts.
And I think that the thing, because there was a lot of focus, obviously, on Grokus signing being a cleric, a lot of focus on Pry because she was a tiefling and shares some infernal bloodline with Elixio, not with him specifically, but of the infernal bloodline. And I think the thing we didn't quite explore was the Aasimar in the room, the angelic blooded person having to sign a deal with the devil. And did that go through your mind at all, Dana?
It did. But at the same time, she was more concerned about the people in the mine. So she you know, that just kind of outweighed any ickiness she had toward Elixio. So she had no hesitation to sign. Yeah.
It wasn't a bad plan. Like it's like it definitely made sense, and Brian did a fantastic job. Like in those who talking it over.
Did.
I still wish we could have thrown down. Like I still think we could have taken them. Like I wish we could have.
Close, really was.
Oh man,
so close.
It would have gone a very different way had Aranis' plan to put the cone on him and turn him flat worked. Which unfortunately did not. At least unfortunately for you all. But yeah, there was. I mean, I was ready to fight. I had the combat map ready and everything, and.
Do you think we could have done it? I know we would have suffered some losses for sure, but I think in the end we could have pulled it out. I think with our teamwork, I think we could have pulled it out.
I think it might.
He could dip though. He could probably flee.
I think the problem you would have faced is that at the beginning of combat, the party was split. And so team 2 would have spent at least one entire round just getting into the room. Now his helper was in the other room. So, you know, but you both would have had reinforcements coming at the same time. The Odiug he had would have been a big problem. I don't know. It's tough because we're also dealing with like the difference between something like the Odiug fight that you had in the mines or
that advantage. Oh my god.
Yeah. The difference between that and fights against people like Brobat or Elixio is strategy. And how much do the villains strategize? And I'm always very careful as a DM to also go, okay, what do the villains know? There's a base level of strategy that they're going to know, but like, do they know your classes? Do they know your weaknesses? And if they do, and Elixio did, that changes the game because then I kind of, to some degree, like open the whole playbook up for myself. And go, cool, let's make this as challenging as possible.
And versus having that, he had his layer. He was like, we're in his layer too. So not only that, he had the advantage like being at home turf.
Yeah.
I still think we could have done, I still think we would have gone out like, would have given us more for his money. Like, he might have won, but would have.
Oh, yeah. No, I think you would have gotten him. I think a couple of you would have definitely died.
Like, I'm pretty sure Artemis would have, like,
he knows wizards are squishy. So
Yeah.
I can be like, bring it back to 1 HP though, so it's okay. I don't want to touch you. Like, it's cool being like, because they'd be like, ooh, it's okay over there. I can still get you. So
yeah.
Yep.
But you all did not have to worry about that because you brokered a deal with him. And that's where we've left off essentially at this point in our story, is with that deal being brokered and with a tentative peace treaty being held, albeit at the expense of you all having to do his work for him. That's a thing.
Man, yeah, I did not think it was going to come. I was so confident for the episode too, like, oh, it's going to be fine. And that contract happened. I was like, man, like, I was like, we got this, whatever. No, what could possibly go wrong or could happen?
And then everything went wrong.
As it does.
Mm-hmm.
The person we have not talked yet about is Azure. And that whole little side story going on. So Azure being the leader of Realm Shield, the monster hunters. And I think what's fun for me, at least, about Azure is Realm Shield was the entire focus of the previous campaign. It was a group of Realm Shield monster hunters that were our heroes. And so now to have them still in the world and to be able to call back to some of that lore and drop some Easter eggs for people who have seen the show is awesome, but also still, like, they very much make sense, in the world still. And it's not just fan service with the fan of one. But yeah, what was just, and I know that there's other stuff to come with Azure for you, Dana. But as of now in the story, what was that experience like, just getting to meet Realm Shield a little bit more and have those conversations?
It was like, oh my God, allies, maybe.
Because it's sort of pretty tense in that alleyway, because like it's sort of pretty, because the first was like, okay, you're for our foe, like for this alleyway, like we're gonna go down. Yeah, that was
Yeah, Artemis is just like, wow, she's cool. She's hella cool. Yeah.
And like they saying it's good to have it's good to have an ally, another group. It's like, because we felt so on our own, like from
Yeah, it's good to have support in the city, because I mean, at that point we didn't have anybody else, right?
I mean, you had Daisy May and Greta, but it's hard to count them as allies per se. Yeah. Especially when Greta runs from every combat.
Yeah, for good reason. We got to check out Greta too. Because speaking of which, that's a good point for future us.
Greta's still out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Greta's smart. Greta's a survivor. She's like, okay, I'm not the most combat prowess, so I'm gonna
peace out.
Yep. Running is a legitimate strategy, and it's not necessarily helpful when things throw down for the rest of the party, but she's got her own poisoned skin to think about. So yes. Well,
but yeah, it's nice to have a Realm Shield though. Like they're a really cool group. And like how they have their own kind of like character too.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very much a subculture. And very much, they kind of do their own thing. And I think that the Azure's interest in all of your doings definitely speaks to, honestly, a little bit of boredom on her part. And just kind of like, well, I have nothing better to do. Like, let's maybe help these bozos. But then also, like, a genuine, I think for me, there's so many times where characters betray or have a secret motivation, and that's still a thing that's on the table, and everybody's got their things. But I think also, like, I want to also highlight with some of these characters that, like, people are good people, like, by default. I think a lot of times, and like they've got their own hang-ups and what. I mean, even someone like Greta is like, I'm going to save my own skin, but like, I'm not a bad person. I'm just not going to stay in fight.
Self-preservation.
Yeah,
thank you, because sometimes, like, I feel like some, like, games where, like, everyone's like, everyone's gonna turn their back and they're gonna do something bad. It's like, oh my gosh. But there are these people out there. I love Worm Shield because, like, it feels like you gave them such a good family kind of vibe, but they didn't leave, because the other groups, Elixio and Reboe, it's lead by, like, meanness and kind of terror, but like she's a leader, but she's not like, she's not torturing her lieutenants. Like, they're a unit, they're like more like a family, which I thought was so tight. Refreshing.
That's so interesting. I never thought about that parallel between the way she runs her crew and the way Brobat runs his crew. That's
Yep.
really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But she runs it a better way, in my opinion. In my opinion.
What has been your favorite moment between you and another cast member who isn't here tonight in the campaign so far through the first 11 episodes?
Oh, I have to get in mind. You go first, Anna. I went
Oh
first last time.
God.
You go first. I don't mind.
Jeez. I would probably say, that part where Aranis put the cone on his head and threw himself over
God.
into the mine. And Artemis is just like, you're a dumbass. And she jumped in after him. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts.
I love
That was fantastic. That cone was just random. We didn't even need
It's
got that
such a
cone
menace.
randomly. We got it so randomly too, because we're at that back in Richmond Hills. Hey, you gotta buy some stuff, and
it was a
what's his
random
name?
roll table full of like someone created a beautiful roll table of BS items, and I rolled randomly on it, and that was one of them, and it has turned into the absolute bane of my existence.
The bane
What's his
of
name?
Artemis's
Finding Deals. He had that catchy name too. I love that.
Lovin' These Deals.
Love these deals.
His name was Lovin' with a Y.
Yes.
Yes.
You gotta admit though, he's been using that cone pretty
Heavily.
pretty creatively.
Well, the cone and the log have both come in handy in the past.
They have.
We'll hear more about the log to come for sure.
Yeah, maybe. But that was a good scene. That was hilarious. Oh man, and scary.
Yeah.
Could have been the vampire sooner.
Plummet.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what about you,
vampire
Blake?
teeth, can they bite blood through like when you're in that form? I mean, I guess we're gonna find out later on.
Have to find out.
Oh, I really hope
they would just go through, and then he'd be like.
Here's a question: if Aranis loses a limb in that form, does it stay flat or does it pop back to normal once it's cut off?
Or can you like restitch it like in paper form? With like and pull them up, like get an experiment. Hey,
just get a glue stick.
Get an evil person. Throw back. Tie him up like a pretzel. Or take off the hat.
That's not been tried yet. No one's tried doing some sort of contortion and then removing the hat.
My God.
I am so excited to see that happen.
We're too good, I think. I think we're overall too baseline neutral good to be like, yeah, twist.
I don't know. Aranis might not. Aranis might.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Aranis, like, Grogus would turn around.
Artemis is like this close to taking the cone away. Like she's just over it.
Grogus
lost cone privileges.
Lost cone privileges.
Yeah, I think that's happened. Has it happened at one point already?
I think Grogus did.
It didn't happen in one of these episodes. I feel like it happened.
Yeah. All right, so Blake, your favorite moment.
Yeah. One of my favorite moments with another cast member was giving Daisy May that necklace when she was leaving, because he was sad. He's like, because we were leaving, because she was staying. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. That she took it there. That was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great moment. And yeah, Shannon being.
Oh snap! Yeah, another one too.
No, go for it.
No, go for it.
And with Darby, with Peony, like that moment was so special. Like it's just a beauty D because like none of the stuff, like we don't plan any of this kind of stuff. So just that whole moment, like when she came in the pew, like it was so perfect because I knew what I was gonna do there. I was like, I need to get out of here. And then she came and all just like it all happened so organically. Like that was really, really tight.
Yeah.
And I love the way she played it off too. That was so sick.
That moment was so fun for me too, because I had something else planned in the moment for you when you were sitting there by yourself. And it was a great exercise for me to say, you know what, I need to take a step back. I need to let them have this scene. And it turned out so much better than anything I could have machinated. So yeah, that was awesome.
Kudos to you and Darby because
yeah, you guys are awesome. Yeah, the whole cast was in tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darby killed it because like just her coming along was like, yeah.
Yep.
And her sleight of hand, that's the best sneakiest role. Like I was low key so happy.
She messaged me. She texted me on Zoom and was like, "Can I roll sleight of hand to take the thing?" So that's why I called for the roll. in that moment. So little behind the screen chatter going on to make that happen. But yeah, that was a cool moment. Well, speaking of Shannon and that great moment that you had with her, the very exciting thing is that the next episode coming out, episode I believe 12, it features the return of Shannon and Daisy May. So she will be back with us for another 2 episodes as Daisy May re-enters the picture and the proverbial shit continues to hit the proverbial fan. So
we gotta get her back again sometime if we can.
I know.
If we can, that'd be amazing.
I think she's very down for it. She is having very much needed time with her new baby boy.
Exactly. No, exactly.
But when she is ready to return, we will welcome her with
holy
open
crap.
arms.
That's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's been such a long ride. Like, oh my god.
It has been.
I'm just so thankful, like you let us come on. Like that's just that in general is like that was like the best day. You're like,
no,
because he just texted us like, hey, what are you guys doing? Do you guys have Sundays or something like that? I was like, oh shit.
I was like, I'm going to make this work.
Oh my god, like seriously, one of the best days ever.
I'm glad, I was a little overwhelmed at first, but I'm glad in hindsight that all 3 of you from Grisman Hills were able to join, because we were looking to fill 1, maybe 2 more cast member seats. And so I sent that word out to the 3 of you, and then all 3 of you replied, and I was like, I'll make it work. That's a lot of players, but it's turned out so well to have, that synergy, and I think the whole 6 of you, 7 when Shannon's there, whew, that's a lot, have just been really one of the joys of my short DMing career is running stories for this group. So final thoughts on the first 11 episodes before we wrap it up for tonight.
Oh man, just nuts. Like I couldn't ask like a better group to go through these experiences with, because like you're saying, the vibe has been just nuts. Like the way we all just kind of click and like play off each other
is insane.
Yeah.
So
it's been so wild.
Cheers to another 100 episodes, maybe.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, next Sunday we record episode 22, so we're still going strong.
Oh my god.
So we'll see if there's a 23. Who knows? You never know in D&D. But
seriously, you don't know.
Yes.
It's been I can't. It's been so much fun. Like this, Like hopefully you viewers like you can see like it's an absolute joy, even if it's sad or upset. Like we were all having a good time, and it's.
I'm glad I answered a random Twitter.
Yes. Shout out Twitter for
bringing people together.
So random too. I think I was on break at work, and I just did on my phone. I was like, let me just let me apply. Let
me just reply to this. Sure.
I love it. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for a little walk down memory lane over these.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts.
Before we go.
Oh my gosh!
Come on.
I have so many. I mean, definitely everything that happened in the mine was earlier in the overall story than I thought it was going to be, and I'm very much okay with that. I like how it sets a backdrop of a larger problem to solve once the kind of main first story is resolved, however long that takes. And I think that's it's good because I think you all have goals, and of course you all still have your own backstories and your own goals and stuff like that. But something that I think can be tough sometimes for D&D groups is having like real believable group goals. And of course a lot of people like to play these D&D games as like a found family thing, and that's wonderful, but like at the same time having a like, oh shit, there's an entire colony potentially of the dwarves below our feet. Do you tackle that head on yourselves? Do you try to go get help from the kingdom? Like there's so many different ways that will end up going potentially. And then in terms of just where the story is at right now, I really loved everything with Elixio, and as tough as some of those moments were, I think it was some of the best improv storytelling I've ever been a part of, because there were real stakes at place, and it was that perfect pairing of, actual like plot changing stakes and lives on the line and all that, but also the soul, right? Prize soul, Artemis's soul, Grokus's soul, all these people who have like personal stakes in these decisions. And that's, hard to do, and certainly not anything I take credit for. I think that's one of those amazing, like, this is why coming together for communal storytelling tells some of the best stories, because it just kind of landed that way, and it has so much more impact. I got goosebumps rewatching that episode as I was editing it, and some of those moments. So it's fun. I cannot wait someday to see the whole story in its entirety, to see the whole tapestry,
man,
and to go, this is what we told, and have that bittersweet moment of looking back and knowing like we charted our way through all this and turn it into a damn book or something. Like, it's so good.
Seriously, like, it's been, oh my god, yeah.
So much to come. So much more.
So many stories to tell, hopefully, for all of us.
Hopefully.
Yes. Either here or in the next life. All right, we are going to wrap it up there, and thanks everybody for watching our little trip down memory lane, and we'll look forward to seeing you for episode 12 and the return of Daisy May Abernathy. But until then, see you.